Welcome to Wild Park Derbyshire Paintball site. My name's Jody. I'm going to be one of the guys looking after you today. If you've got any questions, thoughts, ideas, have a chat with either myself or one of the other members of staff you see walking around with the brightly coloured tops on. We're here to make sure that everybody's safe, happy and leaving in one piece. What I'm going to do, I'm going to explain a little bit about what happens with paintball, the game scenarios and things like that. Then we'll be splitting into the teams and then we'll get out and then we'll get playing. But before we start, I'd just like to have a quick show of hands. Those guys who've played paintball at Wild Park before. Those guys who've played paintball elsewhere but not at Wild Park. And those who haven't played paintball at all. Okay, not a problem. What I'm going to ask you to do is listen up to what I've got to say. If you've played before elsewhere, we may have slight rule changes to other sites. If you've played at Wild Park before, we may have, this is going to be a bit of a refresher, but we may have changed a few rules. But if you haven't played paintball at all, this is going to explain exactly what you've let yourself in for today. Whether you're playing for a whole day or a half day today, depends on how many games we're going to be playing. We play 5 games in a half day, we play 9 games in a whole day, all different types of missions and scenarios. We'll explain each game scenario when we actually get out there on the field before the game itself. We'll explain how the guns work when we get out there as well. You'll be able to have a practice shot as well. But the games, as I said before, they'll start and finish on the blast of the whistle. When the first whistle goes, you go off and do the task you've been asked to do. When the second whistle goes, you stop firing and we'll make our way back to the safe area here. If you're ever not sure where to go, you just simply put your hand up in the air, shout out Marshall, we'll come to you and then we'll explain where to go. At any point today, don't go outside the designated boundaries that the marshals point out before each game. Okay? Now, when the games are in progress, you're trying to eliminate the opposition by marking them with a paint. Now a kill shot is one where the ball hits you directly and it bursts on you, leaving a mark of paint. If it hits you and it bounces off, you carry on playing. If it sprays off a tree or a barricade onto you, you carry on playing. It has to be a direct hit, it has to burst on you, leaving a mark of paint. That's on any part of your body. Soles of feet, hands. We also include the head here at Wild Park, but we don't include the gun. Okay? Now if you are shot, put your hand to wherever the impact was. Pull it out. If you've got paint on your hand, you give yourself out by putting your hand up in the air and shouting out, yeah, I'm dead, stop shooting at me. The opposition should stop firing at you. At that point, bring yourself out from behind, whatever cover you were behind, and make your way back to here as quickly and as quiet as you can. Your arm in the air signals to other players that you are dead. Okay? You're taking no further part in the game, so don't be taking pot shots at players who are still in the game. Likewise, if you're a dead player, don't be taking pot shots at the live guys as they're walking out. I know it's very tempting, but we don't tolerate that kind of behaviour here either. Hang your gun on the rack, come into the safe area, help yourself to tea and coffee. We've got various viewing areas from the safe area here, so watch the games in progress. Don't be shouting out advice to the team or to the opposition, but can watch the game in progress, have your cup of tea. We'll wait for the game to finish, have a break of 5 or 10 minutes in between each game, and then we go off and complete a different scenario after. As the game is in process, you're eliminating the opposition by shooting paintballs at each other. The more of the opposition you take out, the easier the objective should become. Now we're firing projectiles at each other that are travelling at about 270 feet per second as they leave the barrel of the gun. With that in mind, there are safety procedures that have to be in place to make sure that everybody's safe and happy. We have 4 main rules at Wild Park. First one concerns the goggles, where we wear them. Number 2 is where we keep the guns and where we use the guns. Number 3 is to do with close range shooting. Number 4 is to do with when you actually fire the guns. Now, first rule, always wear your goggles when you're on the live game zone. The live game zone is anywhere the other side of the netting around the safe area. You will see a sign down there that says goggles on. Before we go through there, you put your mask on. Once through there, your goggles remain covering your eyes. Out there is what we call the live game zone. That's where the guns are. They are live, primed and ready to go. If you took your mask off whilst we're the other side, you run the risk of taking a direct shot to the eye. If you're shot with a paintball without wearing your mask, you would be blinded. No ifs, ands or buts. The speed that the balls are travelling at, how hard they are, all it takes is one shot, half a second, your eyesight will be gone for the rest of your life. Putting it into context, it isn't worth the risk of taking your mask off. Now I understand that people aren't used to usually wearing goggles and masks and things. So as stewards, the marshals are here to help you out. We'll help you put the goggles on and help you fit them before you go out into the game zone. If you're walking to and from one of the games and you've got a problem with your goggles, just come up to one of us, ask us to sort them out and we will sort them out. If it's actually during a game and you're under fire or anything like that and you've got a problem with your mask, simply stay where you are, put your hand up in the air, shout out Marshall as loud as you can. We will come to you, we will sort the problem out, and then we'll put you back into the game. If, worst case scenario, your mask comes off whilst you're on the game zone, you stay where you are, you cover your eyes and shout out marshal as loud as you can, and we will come to you. If we are not with you within a few seconds, repeat that call and we will come and we will sort the problem out. Okay? It's that serious a rule, guys, that if anybody does take the mask off whilst we're on the game zone, we'll have to stop you from playing. If you're not switched on enough to understand the rule, you're not switched on enough to play. And the easiest way to control that situation is by stopping you playing. Second rule is to do with where the guns are kept. As I just mentioned, we've got the safe area, which is this side of the netting where we are at the moment. In here, we're free to walk around without our goggles on because there aren't any guns here. The guns are found the other side of the netting in the gun rack. Now, everybody should have a number on the back of their hand. There is a gun out there that corresponds to that number on the back of your hand on your peg number. You use that gun for the whole of the day. So every time we go down, we put our goggles on, we go to the gun rack, you pick up your gun, you use it. When you come back from the game, hang it back on your peg, then come back into the safe area, and that's when you take your goggles off. So always wear your goggles when you're in the live zone. Never bring your guns into the safe area, the dead zone. Okay. Third rule we have is to do with close range shooting. The nightmare stories you hear about paintball, the bruising, the pain, the bleeding and things like that, that's when people get shot at close range. What we have here at Wild Park is a zero tolerance to close range shooting. You don't shoot anybody within 25 feet. The distance from that, from where I am, to the edge of the room back there. Now if you get closer than that, what you can do is sneak up on the person. If they've got the back to you, get within a couple of feet, direct shot of them, point at them and shout out, dead, surrender, freeze. Do not shoot. That will take that player out of the game. If you're coming up to a barricade and there's people on the other side, rather than storming up, going over the top, shooting them from point blank range, I'd rather just run up, stick the gun over the top, shout out, dead. That kills who's ever in the bunker. My philosophy, or our philosophy on this one, is that we treat other people like we'd like to be treated ourselves. With respect and fairly. So if I get close enough for somebody, you call the player down. Okay? If you're on the receiving end of this, you could be lying behind your barricade, bit of a late night last night, feeling a little bit tired, and suddenly somebody comes crawling over the top or screaming over the top, shouting dead or surrender, and your initial reaction can be just to turn around and start shooting the guy. We don't do that. If somebody calls you dead, that is you out the game, no ifs, ands or buts. You just say, yeah, I'm dead, thanks for not shooting me, and you leave the game as a dead player. Fourth rule we have is when we actually fire the guns. Now that rule is that we only fire the guns either when the game is in progress or we're at the target range. I can appreciate we've come back in from a game and we just want to check a gun is working, so we want to have a practice shot. Not a problem, have a shot at the target range. Before we go out for the next game, you've picked up your gun, you're waiting to go to the game zone. If you want to check that your gun's working, go to the target range, have a couple of practice shots, make sure that your guns are working. Don't fire your guns as we go into and from the game zones. What you find is that somebody will have a practice shot, it whoops past somebody's ear, they turn around, see somebody, they think they're shooting at them, they shoot back at them. Next thing you know, pandemonium's kicking off. So what we say is we only fire the guns when the games are actually in progress or you're at the target range. In between the two games or walking back off the game as a dead zone, we do not fire the guns. The marshals are the people you see wearing the brightly coloured tops. They're not playing. Their job is to look after you. If you have any problems during a game, all you have to do is simply put your hand up in the air, shout out marshal as loud as you can, we'll come to you, sort the problem out, and then put you back into the game. Now the problems could include problems with the goggles, which I've mentioned earlier on. It could be that you've been shot and you're not quite sure whether the ball's burst or not. It could be that your gun stops working, or it could be that you've lost your trainers in a bog and you need us to come and dig them out. Any problems during a game, shout out marshal, we'll come to you, sort it out for you. If anybody gets injured today on the game zone and you need assistance, just simply stay where you are, put your hand up in the air, shout out marshal, we'll come and sort the problem out. Now, we're not playing. If we're in your line of fire, don't move us by shooting us. Simply shout, say, excuse me marshal, could you move out of the way please, or words to that effect, and we will get out of your line of fire. The closer we can get to the action without worrying about being shot, the quicker we can respond to everything. Okay? We're here to benefit your game. Benefit your enjoyment as well. At Wild Park, our marshals are a little bit more proactive than at other places. We'll be watching the firefights cracking off. Now if two people are shooting each other and one player gets shot and the ball bounces off, if the marshal's seen it, he'll call it immediately. So bounced off blue player, you're still alive. He'll probably point at the player and give a signal like that. So if you feel you've been shot, can't see any paint, you can hear somebody shouting, it's bounced off, get eye contact with the marshal. If it's you, keep rocking and rolling. Likewise, if you've been shooting at somebody and you can swear blind that you've hit them but they've not left the game, You can hear a marshal shouting out, it's bounced off. Yes, you've hit the player, but because of the distance or where it is on the body, it could have bounced off, so you keep rocking and rolling as well. If somebody has been shot, we'll probably say, yep, okay, hold your fire, player's dead here, let them go. We'll point out the boundaries, we'll point out the games, we'll point out all the different timings and things to each game as well. So basically, we're here to help you out, but not just on the game zone. Back in the safe area here, you'll see us knocking around, helping to clean goggles, keeping the place tidy. Any questions or thoughts, come and talk to us and we sort most things out for you. Now the running order of the day. We're going to be looking to play up to 9 games today for the whole day or 5 games for a half day. Each different scenario is either 15 or 20 minutes long depending on which one we're doing. Everything about the games, the guns, the timescales, the objectives, along with the boundaries will be pointed out prior to each game, and that way it's going to be fresh in your memory so you know exactly what you're looking to do. The people that have ordered the food packages, that will be available at about 12:30. Or if you've gone for the bacon, there'll be bacon available after the first or the second game this morning. Tea and coffee, just help yourself to that as much as you want. That's all included in the price on the house. Paint packages. You should know which package your group has gone with. Okay. What we've done to start with, we've put 100 balls in your gun at the beginning. That's in there, that's ready to go. Now depending on what package you've gone for, you get the remainder of your paint from the desk where the girls are during the break periods in between the games. Halfway through a game you can't decide that you're running low on ammo, come back off the game zone into the safe area, stock up, run back out and carry on. You get it during the break periods. Everybody's got a number on the back of the hand. If they want to purchase any extra paint, or they want to buy any toffees, crisps, drinks, hand grenades, smoke grenades, anything like that, it all gets written down on the tab system against the number on the back of the hand. There's no money actually exchanged down on site. We then sort the finances back up at the activity headquarters at the end of the day. Only rule regarding the ammunition is that you have to have paint in your gun to be alive. So if you run out of ammo during a game, you're classified as a dead player. Now the hoppers themselves should be able to hold 200 balls. Okay, so it should be half full at the moment with 100 in there. If you want to carry extra paint around with you, there are ammunition belts available just from the back of the room. Use those as and when you want to. If you don't need the extra paint, don't carry the belts with you. Leave them where they are. If you sustain any injuries today whilst on the site, please report it either to myself or one of the other game managers here. Don't just leave without reporting any injuries. In case of a fire or hearing the fire alarm, head for the fire point halfway up the field, marked with the green marker. What we will then do is have a register. We will call out your number, okay? And if you can reply with present, that way we know who's here. Never happened in all the years that we've been doing it, but you never know. Second thing is, if you need to go back up to the activity headquarters where the car park is, once again, let a member of staff know. Don't just wander off. Toilets, if you're feeling a little bit nervous after what I've just said, are found just down the side of the kitchen area. Straight ahead is the ladies, on the left hand side is the gents. I'm going to hand back over now to your game marshal. He's going to explain a little bit more details and start to sort the teams out and put the goggles on. Thanks for listening and enjoy your day.